I want you to try something with me for a second. It might feel a little, well, a little weird, but just bear with me.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
I want you to think about the word nothing. Just the word itself. Zero.
Mhm.
What's the first thing that comes to mind? For most of us, our brain immediately goes to a negative place, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a void. It's an absence. It's the classic Western terror of the void.
Exactly. It's an empty bank account.
Uh,
Or, that feeling when you're a freelancer and you look at your calendar and it's just blank. It feels like a lack.
it's culturally conditioned, I think.
Mm,
We define zero as being valueless. It's the absence of quantity, the absence of stuff. And in a society that's frankly obsessed with accumulation,
Having nothing is the ultimate failure.
it's the ultimate failure.
Right, it's the boogeyman. But today, we are looking at a book that completely flips that script. I mean, it turns it on its head.
It really does.
What if zero wasn't an empty void? What if it was a state of infinite potential?
I mean, that's a different way of looking at it.
Think about a white canvas before a single drop of paint touches it. It's empty, sure. You could say there's nothing on it.
Technically, yes.
But it holds every single masterpiece that has ever been or could ever be painted. It's all there in potential. Or think about the silence right before a symphony begins.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That split second when the conductor raises the baton, that silence isn't empty, it's pregnant. It's vibrating with everything that's about to happen.
That is a much healthier, and I'd argue a more accurate way to frame it. And that brings us right to the heart of what we are unpacking today. We're not talking about mathematical zero.
No.
We're talking about a state of consciousness,
Mhm.
a state of pure, unburdened potentiality.
We are diving deep into a fascinating book today called In Search of Zero, 112 Paths to Meditative Enlightenment by Kanav Sukhdev. And I have to say, when I first picked this up, I was a little skeptical. I thought, great, another mindfulness book. It's going to tell me to clear my mind and sit still. But folks, if you think this is just some, dry philosophy or a list of rules, you are in for a serious surprise.
It's not a rule book at all.
No, it reads more like a hacking manual for your own brain.
That's a very apt description, actually, and I'm glad you made that distinction right at the top. Kanav Sukhdev has taken on a massive project here, a truly monumental one.
It feels that way.
He's taken this ancient, and I mean ancient text, the Vigyan Tantra, and he's translated it, not just the words, but the spirit of it, into a modern, practical guide for the 21st century.
And when you say ancient, we're talking, what, 8th century?
8th century Kashmiri Shaivism.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is some seriously old school wisdom.
And our mission for this deep dive is to try and decode that ancient map. We want to figure out how a text written over 1,000 years ago can actually help you, I don't know, reboot your mental operating system today, right now.
Amidst the chaos.
Amidst the chaos of emails and traffic and social media notifications and everything else.
And it's important to talk about the author here for a moment, Kanav Sukhdev, because he isn't writing this from some, purely academic ivory tower.
Right.
Nor is he some cave-dwelling ascetic who's never seen a smartphone. He really frames himself as a modern guide, someone bridging that gap between ancient Vedic wisdom and the kind of seeking we all do today. He dedicates the book to Shiva, the eternal guru,
Yeah.
which sounds very traditional, but the way he presents the material is incredibly accessible. He treats these ancient techniques as a form of technology.
A technology of consciousness. That's what hooked me. That and the sheer volume of it. The subtitle is 112 Paths.
112.
112. Usually you get a book on meditation and it's like, here's the one way to do it. Sit, close your eyes, focus on your breath.
And if that doesn't work for you?
Too bad. You failed at meditating. Your knee hurts. Your brain won't shut up. You're a failure. But Sukhdev is offering a buffet. He's basically saying there's a doorway for absolutely everyone.
Precisely. And that's really the core promise of this whole deep dive today.
Yeah.
By the time we're done, you, the listener, are going to understand how to access this zero state. You'll see how it's possible to just suspend the background programs.
The anxiety, the constant planning, the replaying of memories.
All of it. To suspend all that and reveal the pristine operating system that's always been there, just underneath all the noise.
Okay, so let's get into the meat of this. We have to start with the map itself, the source text, the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. The name alone sounds intimidating. It sounds like something you'd need a PhD in Sanskrit to even begin to understand.
It does sound esoteric, I'll give you that. But the origin story, or at least the framing device for the text, is surprisingly relatable. It's almost Romantic.
Romantic.
Really, yeah,
It's
it's
mine.
framed as a dialogue, a
Yeah.
very intimate conversation between Shiva, who represents cosmic consciousness, the pure silent awareness, often seen as the masculine principle, and Parvati, or Shakti, who represents creative energy. She's manifestation, the power that brings the universe into being, the feminine principle.
But it's not just a teacher and a student, is that right? Their dynamic is different.
It's completely different. They are partners. They are lovers. And that changes the entire tone of the text. This isn't a guru on a mountain shouting down commandments.
It's a pillow talk.
It's the most profound pillow talk in history.
Mm.
Parvati asks the ultimate question. She basically asks, "Oh Shiva, what is your reality? What is this wondrous universe? How can one attain liberation? How can I merge with you with this ultimate understanding?"
She's asking the question every seeker in every tradition eventually asks.
The one question that matters. And Shiva's answer is revolutionary. I mean, for its time, it's just,
Yeah.
it's mind-blowing.
Why? What does he say?
Well, it's what he doesn't say. He doesn't give her a philosophy. He doesn't hand her a list of commandments or moral dogmas. He doesn't give her a theology to memorize and believe in.
He gives her techniques.
He gives her techniques. That's the hacking manual part. He doesn't say, believe this. He says, do this.
Try this experiment.
Yes, he gives her 112 distinct methods. He essentially says, don't just take my word for it. Don't have faith in me. Experience it for yourself. Try this method. If that one doesn't click for you, try this one or this one. It's entirely experimental. It's scientific in its nature.
It puts the burden of proof on the practitioner, not on blind faith.
Completely. It empowers the individual.
And central to all of this, as the title of Kanav Sakdev's book makes so clear, is the search for zero. So let's dig deeper into that. You mentioned the Western view is valueless. How does Sakdev define zero in this tantric context? Because, I'll be honest, part of my brain still hears zero and thinks death, annihilation.
And that's the ego talking.
Mm.
That's the part of you that's built on accumulation of identity, of memories, of status, of stuff. The ego is terrified of zero.
Because it would be out of a job.
It would be out of a job. In the tantric view, and Sakdev explains this beautifully, zero is shunya. And shunya isn't emptiness in the sense of a vacuum. It's pregnant emptiness. It's pure potential.
Okay.
Sakdev uses a great analogy that I think will resonate with absolutely anyone living in the modern world. He compares the mind to a computer system.
Okay, lay it on me. I'm already imagining my laptop fan spinning out of control.
Exactly that. Imagine your computer has, I don't know, 50 tabs open in the browser.
Easy.
You got a video rendering in the background.
Okay.
You're downloading a massive file. Your email's constantly syncing, and you've got 3 or 4 different chat apps all pinging you. The system is sluggish. It's overheating. It's struggling to perform even the most basic tasks.
That is literally my brain by 2:00 p.m. every single day. I'll walk into a room and completely forget why I'm there because I have too many background tabs open.
Right. And that is the state of the normal human mind. We have all these background processes running constantly, survival instincts from our lizard brain, past memories replaying on a loop,
Future anxieties calculating every possible bad outcome.
social conditioning telling us how we should behave, what we should want. It's a mess. Zero, in this analogy, is the reboot.
Control-Alt-Delete for the soul.
Pretty much. It's the state where you suspend all those background programs. You're not destroying the computer. You're not wiping the hard drive. You are just clearing the RAM.
Ah, okay, that's a key distinction.
A huge distinction. When you hit that zero state, for even a moment, you reveal the pristine operating system underneath. It's a state of pure, unburdened, lightning-fast awareness.
So it's not about becoming some kind of zombie or wiping your memory. It's about recovering your processing power.
It's about clarity, efficiency, and a profound lack of reactivity. When you're in that zero state, you perceive reality without all the filters. You see things as they actually are, not as your past conditioning or your future fears tell you they are.
One thing I really appreciate about Sakdev's approach in the book is how inclusive he makes all of this feel. He really emphasizes that this is a universal path. And I feel like so many spiritual books, they require you to buy into a whole cosmology first. You know, you have to believe in reincarnation or specific deities or perform certain rituals.
That's a crucial point he makes. Sakdev argues that because these are techniques, not beliefs, they completely transcend religion. A devout Christian can use these methods to deepen their prayer.
Okay.
A scientist can use them to improve their focus before a complex experiment. An atheist or a skeptic can use them simply for stress relief and mental clarity. You don't have to convert to Hinduism to breathe consciously.
It's like gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity for it to work on you.
Perfect analogy. These are the mechanics of consciousness. They work whether you believe in them or not.
And he makes a point that I think is absolutely vital for our listeners who are probably, driving to work or folding laundry right now.
Yes.
You don't need to go to a cave.
No caves required, thank goodness.
Thank goodness, because I don't think I do well with the bats. But seriously, he emphasizes that this entire system is designed for householders.
The householder distinction is so, so important. In the history of yoga and spirituality, there were often two distinct paths. There was the ascetic path, renouncing the world, living in a forest or a cave, celibacy, poverty.
The hardcore path.
The hardcore path. And then there was the householder path. The Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is firmly, unequivocally for the householder.
For people living in the mess of life.
Exactly. It was designed for people engaging with the world, with relationships, with jobs, with money. The goal isn't to escape reality. It's to experience it more fully, more deeply, more truthfully.
So you can find zero while you're washing the dishes.
You can find zero while washing the dishes. You can find it in the middle of a tense meeting at work. In fact, that might be the best, most potent place to find it.
Which brings us to the first practical gateway. The first set of tools in this hacking manual. If we aren't going to a cave, where on earth do we start?
We start with the one thing we are all doing, all the time, without even thinking about it.
The breath.
The breath. The breath is the bridge. It's the ultimate biohack. Think about it. It's the only function in the entire body that is both voluntary and involuntary.
I'd never thought of it that way.
You can consciously decide to hold your breath or breathe deeply, or you can completely forget about it and your autonomic nervous system takes over. It happens anyway.
So it's both conscious and unconscious.
Exactly, which makes it the perfect handle to grab onto if you want to influence the parts of your system you normally can't control, like your heart rate or your nervous system response. The book outlines approximately 24 techniques just focused on breathing.
Wow, 24. That's nearly a quarter of the entire book, just on the breath. But let's look at the very first ones, techniques 1 and 2. Sukhdev really highlights these as the absolute foundation. It's all about something he calls the pause. Now, I've tried this, and I have to be honest, it is so much harder than it sounds. Can you walk us through what we're actually supposed to be doing here?
It is deceptive in its simplicity, isn't it? The instruction is incredibly specific and very subtle. It says, attention rising at the moment of transition between inhaling and exhaling.
The moment of transition. That's the key phrase right there.
That's everything. Think about your own breath. We usually experience it as a continuous loop, like a sine wave, in, out, in, out. It's a constant rhythm.
Right.
But if you pay really, really close attention, and I mean like a scientist looking through a microscope, you'll notice it's not a smooth curve. There's a turnaround point.
Okay.
The breath comes all the way in,
Okay.
and for a fraction of a second, it stops. It turns around, and it goes all the way out. And at the bottom of the exhale, it stops again before it turns around and comes back in.
The gap.
The gap, the stillness. Sukhdev explains that in that gap, for that microsecond, the mind stops. The ancient yogis believed that the mind, our thought process, is literally carried on the movement of prana, or the life force in the breath.
So if the breath stops, the mind stops.
When the breath is suspended, naturally, not by force, the mind is also suspended. That gap, that tiny moment of stillness, is the doorway to zero. It's the reboot button.
Okay, but here's where I personally struggled. When I try to look for that gap, I immediately start controlling my breath.
Ah, yes.
I start holding it. I'm like, okay, inhale now, freeze. And then, of course, a little wave of panic hits because my body wants to breathe and I'm forcing it not to.
That is the most common hurdle by far. It's the ego's trap. The ego, the doer in you, tries to make the gap happen. It wants to achieve the stillness.
Yes.
But the technique is about discovery, not creation. You have to be completely passive. You have to follow the breath like you're watching a leaf fall from a tree. You don't push the leaf down. You just watch its gentle journey until it lands. When the breath naturally turns, you just have to be there to witness that microsecond of stillness.
Why does that panic happen, though? Is it just me being bad at this?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
It's a deep physiological response.
Yeah.
That gap, in a tiny symbolic way, represents the unknown. It represents the cessation of life.
Wow. Okay. That's heavy.
It is. Your nervous system is hardwired with one primary mission: keep the breath moving to keep you alive. So when you put your focus on the stopping point, the amygdala, the brain's little fear center, might twitch a little bit. It sends up a flare. Excuse me. Are we dying? What's happening?
Are we done? Is this it?
Exactly. Red alert. But if you can relax into that gap, if you can just be with it for a split second, you find that it's not death at all. It's profound peace. It's the eye of the storm.
I like that, the eye of the storm.
Sachdev connects this directly to our two main nervous system states. The sympathetic, which is our fight or flight mode.
The gas pedal.
The gas pedal, exactly. And the parasympathetic, our rest and digest mode.
The brake.
The brake. Most of us, especially in our hyper-stimulated modern lives, spend almost all our time with our foot on the gas. We're breathing reactively. It's shallow, it's from the chest, it's rapid. This pattern constantly signals to our brain that we are in danger.
Which explains why anxiety spirals so easily. The anxious thought makes you breathe shallowly, which tells your brain there's a real threat, which then creates even more anxious thoughts.
It's a feedback loop from hell, as you said.
Okay.
And conscious deep breathing can break that loop. But focusing on the gap does something even more profound. It creates a moment of absolute neutrality. It's a pattern interrupt for the entire nervous system.
How so?
It tells the brain, hey, see this? In this silence, there is no tiger chasing us. There is no threatening email. In this moment of stillness, there is no threat at all. And the whole system can stand down.
The book also mentions some advanced breath concepts that go beyond just watching the gap. It gets a little more, I don't know, esoteric, things like the breath of dissolution.
Yeah.
That sounds a little sci-fi.
It's a profound visualization practice. It takes the idea of the gap to a whole new level. This technique involves visualizing your breath, not just stopping inside your body, but actually dissolving into infinite space.
Yeah, what does that look like?
As you exhale, you don't imagine the breath stopping at your nose.
Mm-hmm.
You visualize it continuing to travel outward, leaving your body, moving through the room, through the sky, and into the vastness of the cosmos, just dissolving completely, never turning back.
It's a way of erasing the edges of yourself.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Yes. If the breath is the tether that keeps your sense of you locked inside your body, then visualizing it dissolving into the universe is a way of saying, I am not just this bag of skin and bones. I am the space around it, too. It dissolves the boundary between inner and outer.
I want to challenge everyone listening right now. You don't have to pull over if you're driving. You don't have to close your eyes. Just as you are listening to us, just notice your next inhale. Don't change it. Just follow it. And see if you can catch that tiny, tiny fraction of a second where it turns around to become an exhale. That little pocket of silence right there. That's the zero state Sachdev is talking about. It's hiding in plain sight.
It is always there in every single breath. We just miss it because we're so focused on the noise, not the silence between the notes. We're always looking at the frame, not the space within it.
Speaking of noise, this brings us to a section of the book that I found so refreshing. I mean, it completely changed my idea of what meditation is. Segment 3, sensory meditation.
Ah, yes. This is where Tantra really diverges from a lot of other paths.
It really does. Because usually when I think of meditation, I picture someone sitting cross-legged, eyes closed, maybe with earplugs in, trying to block out the world, you know, the whole go away world. I'm trying to find my peace in here.
Shutting down the senses.
Exactly. But Sachdev and the Tantra itself suggests the complete opposite.
It does. And this is a very specific tantric philosophy. In many of the more ascetic traditions, like, say, early Buddhism or certain paths of Vedanta, the senses are often seen as the enemy.
They're distraction.
They're distractions. The eyes lead to desire, the ears lead to distraction, the tongue leads to gluttony. The advice is close the gates, shut them down. But the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra flips that script entirely. It says the senses are not distractions, they are portals.
Turning the mundane into magic. I love that phrase from the book. But how do you actually do that? How is listening to a car horn a portal to enlightenment? That sounds like a bit of a stretch.
It's all about shifting from labeling the experience to just sensing it. Let's look at techniques 26 and 27 in the book, which focus specifically on sound. Sachdev calls it ambient sound tracking.
This one is brilliant for anyone who lives in a city.
It is essential for city dwellers. If you live in New York or Mumbai or London, conventional meditation advice tells you to find a quiet room.
Good luck with that.
Right. Good luck. So what happens? There's construction outside your window, and you get frustrated. You think, I can't meditate because of that stupid jackhammer. The jackhammer becomes the enemy.
It's the reason you're failing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This technique says, don't fight the noise,
Yeah.
include the noise.
So you listen to the jackhammer on purpose.
You listen to it, but you have to change how you listen. You stop labeling it. You strip away the concept of jackhammer, annoyance, construction, that sound that's ruining my peace and quiet. You take away the story. What remains?
Just vibration, I guess. A loud, rhythmic banging.
Exactly.
Mm.
Raw sound data. A symphony of vibration. When you remove the mental label annoying, the suffering associated with the sound vanishes. The sound is still there, of course, but your resistance to the sound is gone. You become the witness of the sound rather than the victim of it.
Huh. It's the resistance that causes the stress, not the noise itself.
Precisely.
Right.
And then he offers the next level, which is listening for the space between sounds. This connects right back to that gap in the breath. Sound arises from silence and it dissolves back into silence.
Okay.
If you listen to a bird chirping outside your window, that sound can only exist because there's a background of silence that allows the chirp to be heard. The technique asks you to shift your focus from the bird to the background silence that the bird is chirping in.
It's like looking at a painting and deciding to focus on the canvas instead of the paint.
A perfect way to put it. And you can do this anywhere. You can do it in a crowded coffee shop. You can listen to the chatter of all the conversations, not trying to understand the words, but just hearing the overall hum of humanity rising from silence and falling back into it.
Sakadev also talks about taste and smell in this section. He calls it the sensory reset. I tried this with my morning coffee today, and I have to admit, I failed miserably.
Huh. How did you fail?
Well, the technique is to experience the raw data of the sensation, the texture, the temperature, the bitterness, the aroma, without the mental label, coffee or good or I really need this caffeine to function.
Right. Just the raw sense data.
I took one sip, my brain went, hot, and then I immediately unlocked my phone and started scrolling through emails. It is so hard to just stay with the sensation.
That's our default mode, isn't it? We consume, but we don't truly experience. We use food and drink as fuel or as a distraction. Sakadev suggests taking something simple, like a single piece of chocolate or a cup of tea, and slowing the process down so much that you are just perceiving sensation.
So it's about breaking the autopilot.
Completely. It forces you into the present moment because you can't taste the past and you can't taste the future. You can only taste now.
It sounds so simple, but it's actually incredibly demanding on your attention span.
It is. It turns the simple act of eating into a high-focus activity, a meditation in itself.
Then there's the visual aspect. He talks about Tritaka, or the unwavering gaze. This one feels a bit more intense, almost hypnotic.
Tritaka is a classic yogic purification technique, a kriya. The practice is to gaze at a single stationary object, traditionally a candle flame, but it could be a black dot on the wall or a symbol without blinking.
Without blinking at all.
For as long as you can, until tears naturally form and flow down your face.
Why the tears? Is that just eye strain? Or is there something more mystical happening there?
Well, on a physiological level, yes, it cleanses the tear ducts and is said to strengthen the optical nerves. But on a more energetic level, it's believed to cleanse the inner vision, the third eye. When the tears finally come, you gently close your eyes, and then you focus on the afterimage of the flame that's now imprinted on your inner screen.
I've done this before, and the afterimage is so vivid. It's like a little purple or green dot just floating in the darkness behind your eyelids.
Yes, and the practice is to hold that afterimage as steady as possible for as long as possible. It trains the mind to be laser-focused. In a world of completely fragmented attention, where we're scrolling TikTok, then Instagram, then back to email, Tritaka is the ultimate antidote.
It's like taking your brain to the gym.
It builds the muscle of concentration.
Yeah.
It teaches you how to look at one thing for 10 minutes instead of 10 things in 1 minute.
So the big takeaway from this whole sensory segment is what Sakadev calls non-conceptual awareness. Seeing the world raw before our brain slaps a label on it and writes a story about it.
Exactly. The brain is fundamentally a storytelling machine. It's a survival mechanism. It sees a shape, and it immediately says, chair, for sitting. It doesn't really see the chair anymore. It just sees the function, the concept.
Right, it's just a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
These techniques strip the utility away and bring back the wonder. They make the world look new again, like you're seeing it for the very first time.
Speaking of storytelling machines, let's talk about the biggest storyteller of all, our emotions. This is where the book gets really, really spicy. Segment 4 is all about emotion and the inner fire.
This is where things get really interesting and I think potentially very challenging for a lot of people.
How so?
Well, we generally have two common ways of dealing with difficult emotions in modern society. We either suppress them, big boys don't cry, keep a stiff upper lip, just bottle it up.
Right, push it down.
Or we express them. We vent, we scream into a pillow, we punch a wall, we write a nasty tweet.
And Sakadev implies that both of those are traps. I always thought letting it out was supposed to be healthy.
In the tantric view, they are both incomplete and potentially damaging. Suppression, as we now know from psychology, stores that unprocessed energy in the body. It can lead to illness, ulcers, chronic pain, or just a massive explosion later on down the line.
Okay, that makes sense.
But mindless expression can also be a trap. It can sometimes just reinforce the neural pathway for that emotion. If you scream and yell every single time you get angry, you're just practicing screaming and yelling. You're getting better at being angry.
You're training your brain to go down that path more easily next time.
Precisely. So Tantra offers a third way. Not suppression, not expression, but metabolism.
Metabolizing emotions, like digesting food. That is a wild concept.
It sounds wild, but it's incredibly accurate. Sakdev introduces the fire element meditation, which uses the concept of Agni, or internal fire. The core idea here is that emotions are just energy. That's it. Pure kinetic energy moving through your body.
Not good or bad, just energy.
Just energy. Anger is heat. Sadness might feel like a cold heaviness. Fear might be a frantic vibration.
So walk us through the technique. Let's get practical. Let's say I'm feeling angry. My boss just sent a passive-aggressive email at 5:30 p.m. on a Friday. My blood is boiling. What do I do with that?
Okay? The normal instinct is to either fire back a nasty reply, which is expression,
Yeah.
or to just swallow it and seethe all weekend, which is suppression. The third option, the tantric option, is this. You take a moment. You close your eyes.
Yeah.
You turn your attention inward, and you locate the physical sensation of the anger in your body. Where is it?
Okay.
Is it a tightness in your chest, a burning sensation in your stomach, a clenching in your jaw?
Let's say it's a hot burning knot in my stomach. A real pit.
Perfect. Now, instead of getting lost in the story of my boss is a jerk, this is unfair, I hate my job, you focus entirely on that sensation. You visualize that knot as a literal fire.
Yeah.
You objectify. You give it a color. Is it red, orange, black? You watch its intensity. You watch the movement of the flame.
No, I'm just watching it.
You are watching it with a kind of scientific detachment. This is what's known as witness consciousness, or sakshipava. In that moment, you separate your essential self from the emotion. You are no longer the angry person. You are the awareness that is observing the sensation of anger.
I become the sky observing the cloud rather than being the cloud itself.
That is the classic metaphor, and it's perfect.
Yes.
And here's the alchemical part. When you observe that energy purely, without feeding it the fuel of your story, the energy does what energy does. It burns. It creates heat. It moves through your system, and then it naturally dissolves or transforms.
So you're using the heat of the anger to burn through your own resistance to it?
You come out the other side clearer, and you haven't suppressed it, and you haven't lashed out at anyone. You've metabolized it.
It sounds incredibly difficult to do that in the heat of the moment, though.
Oh, it is. It requires a lot of practice. You don't start with your biggest lifelong trauma. You start with the small annoyances, getting cut off in traffic, spilling your coffee. You build the muscle on the small stuff before you tackle the big weights.
There's also a technique in this section called paradox meditation. This one kind of blew my mind a little bit. It's about holding two opposite emotions at the same time.
This technique is designed specifically to break the mind's rigid binary logic. The mind loves binaries. Happy versus sad, good versus bad, success versus failure. It operates on an either-or basis.
It can't handle paradox.
It can't. So Satdev suggests this practice. Try to hold the feeling of intense joy and the feeling of deep sorrow in your awareness at the exact same time.
That sounds completely impossible. It's like trying to rub your stomach and pat your head, but with your deepest feelings.
It feels impossible to the thinking mind. The mind says, nope, can't be done. But if you actually try it, if you really try to recall a memory of great joy and a memory of profound grief, and you attempt to overlay them in your feeling body, the mind just sort of short circuits.
It crashes like a computer.
It crashes into silence. It can't process both polarities at once, so it collapses. And in that collapse, you fall into the state beneath the polarity. You find the unity, the silent awareness that exists before the energy splits into the labels of positive or negative.
It's a Zen koan for your feelings.
That's exactly what it is. It's like looking at one of those optical illusions. Is it a duck or is it a rabbit? And for a split second, your brain just stops because it can't decide. That stop, that pause, that's the goal. That's the opening to zero.
Okay. We are officially moving into the deep end of the pool now. We've gone through breath, senses, emotions. Now we get to the final chapters of the book, the heavy stuff, dissolution and the ultimate techniques.
This is where we shift gears. We're moving from what you might call self-improvement to the realm of self-transcendence.
What's the difference?
We're not just trying to handle stress better or focus more clearly anymore. Now we're asking the big questions. We're talking about the dissolution of the ego boundary. We're talking about investigating what you fundamentally actually are beneath the personality.
Sakdev uses the snow globe analogy here, which I have to say is a lot cuter and less terrifying than the death of the ego.
It's a perfect visual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine your mind as a snow globe. When you're constantly shaking it, thinking, worrying, planning, reacting, the snow is everywhere. It's a chaotic blizzard. You can't see through it clearly. The self is obscured by the storm of thoughts.
And usually our approach is to try and fix it by reaching into the globe and grabbing individual snowflakes. I need to fix this one thought, or I need to analyze this specific worry.
Exactly. But all that does is shake the globe even more.
Mm.
The technique isn't to manipulate the snow. The technique is to just put the globe down, stop shaking it.
And when you stop shaking it,
The snow naturally settles. And for the first time, you see the clear space inside.
that clear space is dissolution.
That's the dissolution. And it's not dying. People get so scared of that word. It's not annihilation. It's the dissolving of the illusion of separateness. It's realizing that the glass of the snow globe wasn't really a barrier in the first place.
There's a specific technique he mentions that I found really helpful because my logical brain needs a hook. It's the one about infinite space.
Yes, visualizing the body as 99.99% empty space.
Which is, according to atomic physics, literally true.
It's a scientific fact.
Mm.
If you look at an atom, the distance between the nucleus and the orbiting electron is proportionally as vast as the distance between the sun and the planets. We are mostly empty space, held together by invisible energy fields.
So what's the practice?
The technique asks you to close your eyes and feel into that emptiness. Feel the space between your own atoms. Feel the space between the cells. Feel yourself as a porous, energetic cloud rather than a solid, dense object.
It's a weird feeling, but when you do that, the sense of heaviness of being a solid thing that's separate from the chair you're sitting on or the air you're breathing, it starts to fade. You feel lighter.
You feel permeable,
Yeah.
spacious. It's a very freeing sensation. The hard boundaries of me and not me begin to blur and dissolve.
And then we get to it. Technique 112, the final technique. The ultimate surrender.
This is the mic drop of the entire Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. It's the ultimate punchline to the cosmic joke.
What is it? After 111 different complex techniques.
After giving you 111 things to do, breathe like this, stare at this, visualize that, feel this, the final technique is do nothing.
Wait, seriously, that's it? After reading the whole book?
That's it. It's the ultimate paradox. The final technique isn't something you do at all. It is a complete letting go. It's a radical recognition that you are already free. You are already that silent awareness. You stop trying to meditate. You stop trying to get enlightened. You simply drop all effort. You exist.
That has to be the hardest one for overachievers. I can just hear them now. How hard do I have to try to stop trying? Am I not trying hard enough?
Exactly. It's the gateless gate. You spend all this time trying to break down the door, only to realize there was never a door to begin with. But usually, people need to try the other 111 techniques first, just to exhaust the mind. The mind has to be so tired of doing that it's finally willing to give up.
You have to run the marathon before you're willing to just collapse on the grass.
Perfectly said.
Before we wrap up this section, we have to at least mention the serpent energy. Sakshev does touch on Kundalini in these advanced sections, and that's a buzzword that can scare some people and overly excite others.
He does. He talks about the awakening of the energy at the root chakra and its potential upward flow through the central channel. But what I really appreciate is that he includes very clear safety warnings.
Yeah, he's very responsible about it. He basically says, proceed with extreme caution. Don't go poking the sleeping snake unless you know what you're doing.
Because Kundalini is powerful stuff. It's like trying to run high-voltage electricity through the wiring of a historic house. If your nervous system, your wiring, isn't ready, if you try to force an awakening with aggressive breathing or drugs without doing the foundational work first, you can fry your circuits.
So it's not a race.
It's not a race. Sakdev advises deep respect and a very gradual progression. Let it happen, don't make it happen. The foundation of breath, sensory awareness, and emotional stability has to be there first.
So we've covered the map, the breath, the senses, the emotions, and this ultimate dissolution. It's been quite a journey. I want to zoom out a little bit as we head toward the end. We've been talking a lot about this book and this author, Kanav Sakdev. Who is this guy? Because this isn't his only rodeo.
No, not at all. He has built quite an impressive and interconnected ecosystem of work around these ideas. He's not just a meditation teacher, he has a whole manifestation series, which deals with concepts like the law of attraction and quantum jumping.
Okay, some more modern self-help concepts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then he has his Tantric Alchemy series with books like the Mahavidya Code, which goes deeper into the divine feminine archetypes. He's also written Katha, 108 stories from the Vedas, retelling ancient myths.
So he seems to be a bridge builder. He's taking these, what might seem like disparate worlds, ancient mythology, esoteric tantra, and modern self-help concepts like manifestation, and he's weaving them all together.
That's the perfect term for him. He connects the dots. He shows how the ancient zero state we've been talking about is actually the necessary prerequisite for the modern idea of manifestation.
How so?
You can't effectively manifest a new reality for yourself if your mental and energetic operating system is completely clogged with the viruses and bloatware of your old one. You need to get back to zero, to that clean slate, before you can consciously create something new.
And that brings us to the implicit value, as we call it, of In Search of Zero. Why this book specifically? Why now?
I think its greatest value is that it's a curated buffet. We mentioned this at the start. You are not expected to do all 112 techniques. That would be insane.
And exhausting.
The value is that you can browse the buffet and find the 3 to 5 dishes that work perfectly for your unique constitution. Maybe you're a very visual person. Tritaka is your door. Maybe you're a musician or an audiophile. The sound meditation techniques are your door. Maybe you're a highly emotional, kinesthetic person. The fire meditation is your door.
It's a user manual for consciousness, but one where you can go to the troubleshooting section for your own specific bugs.
Exactly. And it bridges that huge gap between reading obscure poetic Sanskrit verses, which can be beautiful but very confusing, and getting actual practical instructions you could apply to your life when you have a big deadline next Tuesday.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. We've been on a journey today, from the gross to the subtle. We started with the breath,
Then moved to the senses,
learned how to metabolize our emotions.
and finally touched on the idea of dissolving into infinite space.
It's a journey from the outside in, so I want to leave our listeners with a final provocative thought to mull over. We talked at the very beginning about how zero isn't nothing, so imagine this. If you stripped away your name, your job title, your memories of high school, all your worries about tomorrow, even the thoughts you're having about what you're listening to right now, if you took all of that away, piece by piece, what remains?
That is the ultimate question.
That silence, that awareness that's left over, that zero isn't an empty box. It's the source code of everything. It's the canvas we talked about at the beginning.
And when you learn how to access that canvas, even for a moment, you can begin to consciously paint a new picture for your life, rather than just unconsciously repainting the same old one over and over and over again.
Now look, we've talked about a lot of these techniques today, but we can only ever scratch the surface in an audio conversation like this. We can show you the menu, but we can't eat the food for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are genuinely serious about this, if you actually want to learn how to meditate the ancient way Shiva taught us, specifically through these 112 powerful paths, you really need the full manual.
You need the details. You need the specific step-by-step instructions for each of the 112 paths, the nuance of the breath counts, the diagrams, all of it.
So you need to grab a copy of In Search of Zero by Kanav Sakdev. It's available right now on Amazon, on Google Play, and in all leading bookstores.
It's one thing to hear us talk about the map. It's a completely different thing to hold it in your hands and start your own journey.
Exactly. Don't just listen to this deep dive. Step through the door yourself. Get the book, try the techniques, and find your zero.
It's a journey that's well worth taking.
Stay curious, everyone, and enjoy the silence.